esportsbets.com, the service where gamers will bet real money on virtual events. Only here, the best odds and widest coverage of games from Dota 2 to Hearthstone. We have over 200,000 users registered. Join us. Prove that you are the best versed in esports. Who will get the first blood? Who will take the first Roshan? Who will win the knife round? Participate in the race of predictors and earn real money. The more bids, the more bonuses. Reward for your first deposit up to $600. esportsbets.com. Foresight, passion, and calculation.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back. We're live here from Cyber Arena, and it's time for game number 2 of Team Secret versus Team Tinker. I'm Al Diab on the summit. Of course, I'm joined here to my right by Merlini. Ben, game 1 Tinker looked good. Got a bunch of pickoffs, had the early lead, Sing Sing. Played close to a flawless Ember Spirit, but then they fell short. One fight didn't go their way, and then Secret suddenly take one lane of Rax. Shortly after that, take a range Rax in the other lane, and from there, it was just all Secret all the way.
Yeah, Secret's two greatest strengths, I'd say. Firstly is draft and unconventional strategies, which catches teams by surprise, and they don't exactly know how to play with it. And secondly is mid to late game decision making. They are just really, really good at knowing what it takes to win.
Yeah, and they seem to be really good, like you said, in the late game, and regardless of the draft, it's like they've picked a variety of drafts. Sometimes they pick heavy team fight. We saw the one game where they had the Earthshaker, the Gyrocopter, the big AoE combos. They knew how to execute that. This time around, they had Big Daddy on the Disruptor, and it took a few misfires, but eventually that one Aghanim's Disruptor, Aghanim's Ultimate, I should say, turned the entire fight. And from there, they take the fight, they take the Rex. Well, looking at the draft for game 1 now, the first overall pick this time is different. It's an Ogre for Secret. This time, Secret do give away the Legion Commander. That was banned first phase in game number 1, and it is a hero that Tinker used very well. They also get the Bulba Skywrath again. Great burst damage and pick-off potential from these two.
And as a trade-off, Secret get Ogre. Big Daddy's pretty good at Ogre, I must say. And Secret going with... I said before it was going to be either Nature's Prophet, Tide, or Timber. For Fly, looks like it's just Tidehunter and Timber in this tournament. Screw the Nature's Prophet.
And the 4th ban now coming out for Tinker. Secret did remove the Ember, even though they managed to win that game. Said played almost flawlessly, and had they maybe had an extra buyback or two, or if they just execute a bit better, it could have ended differently. It's one of his best heroes for sure. So they will remove it from the pool.
They even got away with the first pick last game.
Yeah.
So they clearly just don't have enough resources to deal with it.
And also going for things like Tidehunter Ogre, it's a lot of magic damage, but no long duration lockdown, unless you get multiple multicasts out, which is looking more towards the late game. And, well, let's see what this final ban's going to be for Tinker. Secret, as they often do, they don't show Kuro's hero until much later in the draft. They do have Simba's off-lane Tidehunter, they've got the Big Daddy Ogre, but Puppey, S4, and Kuroki, still plenty of their heroes in the pool. And, well, what do you think they're going to go for with these two picks? We've seen the Sven solo mid for S4. We've seen his Ember, but that's banned. We've seen the Puck at times, so he's shown a variety. Kuroki's shown all kinds of carries. What do you think the right approach is here?
Depends on what Tinker wants to do. Tinker, I highly doubt they'll pick a Death Prophet, but if they do, it'll probably be met with a Secret Sven. But I don't think they'll go for that. Instead, the Razor... I don't know. It seemed to work well later, but I didn't really have the dominant effect of a Razor. I didn't really feel his prominence. And anyone with that sort of farm can farm BKB and Scythe of Vice and Ags and just run at them, which is kind of what Pycat did. But he died a lot in lane. He didn't really control the Puck. There was no lockdown for an anti-mage or the Puck that was offered by the Razors. So it does provide an easy matchup for the Tidehunter, but aside from that, I don't really think they play that well around it.
Well, the Razor now picked up by Tinker. It can be a hero that kind of, I don't know if you'd say counters the duel, but matches up well against you. You get that initial purge when the Legion duels you, and if you manage to not be dueled, you can just start static linking him, using your ultimate to bring him down. It worked well for Tinker last game up until a certain point. Pycat itemized well. You mentioned how he transitions well after the early game, and generally he makes good item selections. I think he did too, but just that one fight where they got relocated back and they didn't bring him in for round 2 of the engagement kind of cost them in the end.
So something that we really haven't seen out of S4 in like the past couple of weeks, but something that they actually just played a lot for S4 earlier was like Death Prophet and Brewmaster just nonstop. Now everyone bans a Brewmaster, and they haven't really been going for Death Prophet mid. They were just opting for more Sven, Ember Spirit, the melee cleavers for S4. But, I mean, go back to the tried and true Death Prophet. Pretty good versus Legion Commander if you can actually survive the initial burst. So it is going to be a test for S4 whether or not he can get tanky enough to that point where he won't die to the Legion Commander and Skywrath ultimate, because that is the prime target, and Death Prophet cannot die within the first 2 seconds of the team fight. Oh,
the Sven from Tinker.
Taking a page out of Secrets book.
Get that War Cry to deal with the Death Prophet ultimate.
That is cool.
And some more burst and lockdown here. It's also a natural BKB builder, although it could maybe be a support Sven.
I don't think it should
Possible. So if they don't go that route, then what's the final support for Tinker? They already have their Skywrath Mage.
I would like Omni Knight. Omni plus Sven. Just run at him. Easy.
All right. Yeah, it would be nice against Death Prophet with the ultimate as well.
What else would be good for them? I mean, it's also good like just healing Legion Commander while she duels. I mean, then the dual support with like press the attack plus Legion Commander. Again, that's like a lot of AoE-ish, single target abilities, and might be going for more heavy team fight to match Secrets with their 3 big team fight heroes.
Yeah, big AoE combo. The big, I guess it's an Ogre, Earthshaker. Are these both supports, do you think?
Yeah.
Okay, so...
I definitely think so.
Well, we saw the Big Daddy Earthshaker. You mentioned his Ogre Magi. Certainly they're interchangeable in terms of who plays what, but he'll be on one of his go-to heroes. And they do ban out that Kuroki Necrolite. Often thought of as a counter to tanks. Razor and Sven tend to build that way.
I don't think that was necessary, just because of no Wisp. And yeah, he plays a pretty mean Necrolite, but at the same time, Necrolite doesn't want to stand toe-to-toe with a Legion, with Duel, with a Razor, with a Sven. He needs like mobility around in fights, and Team Tinker actually have a lot of mobility with Warcry, Unstable Current.
It is a really good 5-man carry, though. That's and they look like they might want a 5-man here.
And Team Tinker doesn't actually have last pick, so maybe they're picking like a, I don't know, maybe like a Bristleback or something if they want to run for Sven. But as far as other supports go, maybe more damage. Ancient Apparition would be decent to combo well with his AoE themselves. Any other duos for Skywrath? I was going to say Vengeful Spirit.
Ooh, I like this. They needed some D-push. They only had Plasma Field. They get some from the Jakiro. Makes up for the Skywrath Mage not having much in his own right. And it's a tankier support. It's someone who can build that Yule Scepter later on. I assume it's a support. In theory, it could be a Court Jakiro and a support Sven, but either way, it gives them more AoE to work with. It can follow up the Stormbolt nicely. I do want to point out that Secret have some real signature heroes in this game. I think it was 4-0 on the Death Prophet for S4, and 5-0 on Fly's Tidehunter. So they are getting heroes that they've excelled with as of late. Final pick now for Secret. They're 3 melee heroes. Against the Jakiro and Razor, that is a little bit dangerous.
They need something with a lot of armor, I feel like, just because Razor, Sven, and Legion just do a ton of physical damage. Not really sure none of the carries really stand out to me. Puppy probably has a really good feel as to what suits Kuro here. Anti-Mage doesn't really have that much armor, and Duel is pretty good at just locking him in place. So
there's the Gyro we've seen. Medusa's banned. Yeah, Clinks is out there.
Gyro, I think...
Clinks feels very risky against the Legion Commander and Skywrath Mage combo.
Luna also for 5-man Death Ball, but yeah, I think Gyro is the one that stands out to me as the better one, but there's no clear winner.
Or is there? Okay, it's the Clinks instead. So why Clinks over something that's more teamfight centric? It kind of diverges from their overall draft up to this point.
Clinks is really good at taking towers. So that's one thing that they have going for them. And actually, I mean, Clinks is pretty tanky. With the Death Pact on, you don't really want to one-on-one him with Legion Commander and Duel, although you can. And it will require a lot more resources than, let's say, like a weaker agility hero like Luna or Gyro to bring down. And also, pretty easy time in lane versus Legion Commander.
Can really punish, like Skywrath Mage in particular is ultra squishy. So if he doesn't have a good start, could get completely shut down. And with this game too, Secret do lead the series 1-0. A win here puts them into a guaranteed top 3 position in your winter bracket finals at Starladder Season 10. They fell short at ESL 1. They ended up finishing, what was it, tied for 4th, I believe? They got knocked out the round before the finals. They did have to play the eventual champion, so maybe you can argue they would have been 3rd otherwise at the very least, or potentially challenged DG. But Tinker, despite a great start in Game 1, they couldn't close the deal, and with that, we can get underway here. Game 2 has begun. Tinker on the Radiant, Secret, the Dire. We've got a Sing Sing Jakiro on board. He will be a core Jakiro. Boba playing that support Scarith Mage. Bringing up the rear will be a support Sven. And Tinker get aggressive with the early dust. They want to bring the fight to this Klink, so Kuroki shut him down early. Meanwhile, Koikfa moves through the jungles, the Legion Commander. And Pycat will be playing your Razor. He did spot the rotation of this Earthshaker. I don't know if he saw exactly where the ward was placed, but he should have an idea it's been dropped down. Why else would a Shaker be wandering around there? And on the side of Team Secret, leading 1-0 again in the best of 3. We've got Big Daddy No-Tail on the Earthshaker, reprising his role in a hero that he did so much work with to bail them out in that match. I believe it was versus Virtus Pro. Is that right? I think so. Kuroki or Clinks. It puts Puppey onto the Ogre Magi. S4 running the Death Prophet mid lane, and towards the top lane will go Fly on his undefeated 5-0 Tidehunter.
Yeah, his Tidehunter has been...
It was a little bit shaky in one of the games yesterday.
I would say I'm more scared of his Timbersaw than his Tidehunter, but his Tidehunter has been decent. A lot of Ravages have been just kind of off the mark in a couple of games.
He started off slow, I think, and then the last few Ravages were big ones, and he connected nicely.
He also finds a lot of farm, too. Like, if the game goes past 30, he usually finds his Refresher Orb, so that's actually something that's pretty important as a Tide, so you don't get irrelevant once BKBs hit the table.
So they're going to run the Clinks off lane here. They drop down an Observer Ward. Puppey's there to join him and potentially offer some assistance, though it's a fairly poor and naked Ogre. Not only is the clothing lagging, but so too are the items. Just sitting on 300 gold. He's pulled out some regen and just general utility, and they are going to make an early move here on Tinker. They have a haste turn up on Boba, but it's about to wear off. They smoke and they wrap around towards bottom, but that Fissure block ends up working out fairly well. Puppey and Kuro keeping this lane back as best they can. The old Na'Vi teammates. It's at the tower, basically, and it's not like a Razor can initiate. This smoke is going to wear off fairly soon. And meanwhile, the Earthshaker is waiting mid. They're expecting a gank on S4, but both lanes that they could gank are being protected, and even Simba top lane is playing it close to the tower. They are totally ready for this early rotation. First smoke for Tinker, a failure.
And looks like they will spot out that one of the supports is finally on bottom with that Observer Ward, and they block the spawn with no sentries. So all in all, Secret, yeah, that Fissure block really helped them out, though.
Legion Commander just bought a smoke. I think he might have sold it back. Yeah, it's not on the courier right now. But he does have his bottle now. Maybe just a misclick. So they're not going to try lane bottom. How do you feel about this off lane clicks? Like, what's the reasoning for Secret, and do you think Tinker can punish it?
Well, I think it pairs up very well versus Razor in a one-on-one situation. Like a static link, pretty difficult to get off versus a max range hero, or 600 range hero rather. And Razor doesn't actually have that much range, so he can't really trade hits effectively, which is what Razor really excels at in terms of lane control, and it will force the supports to kind of devote their efforts to the bottom lane. So if you have two heroes down bottom, you're getting farm versus 3, your other 2 lanes should win out in theory, and we see Big Daddy maybe making a move towards the top. Looks like he just wants to farm out those newts.
It's very early, but Tinker are farming well. The offlane Jakiro of Sing Sing, he was, I forget who it was, someone tweeted kind of flaming him for a skill build yesterday because he only took 1 point Ice Path max Dual Breath after the Liquid Fire, and this time around he has changed it up. He's going for the Ice Path max. No-Tail will find him, fissures him, but it's not on the right side. Don't know that it would have done much anyway.
The max Dual Breath build does a lot of damage.
Yeah.
Burn damage 76 times 5, so you're talking about 380 damage, which is very high for an AoE nuke.
Yeah.
So, I mean, it has its merits, it has its cons.
Yeah, all of Jakiro's skills are pretty strong. It's not like there's one that you obviously want to skip. But it does give them some reliable lockdown here, and they have a Stormbolt and Duel. Some slows are nice, but it's a stun that they may end up needing just to prevent like a fissure, potentially to lock down the Tidehunter after Kraken Shell procs. Could be a big deal. Secret are going to give up on this offlane, though. They rotate towards top. And I imagine we're going to just see Fly either TPN or just go to the jungle. He hasn't skilled up anything aside from Anchor Smash. Still sitting on 2 points in Kraken Shell. Doesn't really help you against all of Jakiro's nukes, that's for sure.
And Bulba wondering where these 2 heroes in the offlane have gone.
He's also still warded. Level 2, but he's been leeching quite a bit off of Pycat, who's only hit 3. Now Kuro will look to catch up, and it's Puppey and No-Tail who... Oh, it's 4 heroes top for now. They're finally going to send Simba towards the jungle.
They do have a smoke, though.
Do they use it?
Well, who do they really go for? Maybe Bulba in the mid lane now that he's shown. But, I mean, he's just taking over mid while Koik was getting the bottom rune. So I don't really think that's a great kill opportunity for them. Maybe if they get a really good block in the mid lane.
Koikfa's doing really well mid. He's out-denying the enemy Death Prophet, and he's still almost even on CS.
EGM in no man's land. If he gets scouted out, he's going to get blocked in.
Well, it's actually Sing Sing they want. EGM's here to maybe turn the fight. They have a Stormbolt ready. Can throw it out onto Puppey, but it's only a 1 hero Stormbolt. Sing Sing's going to turn and engage. Has a nice path ready, but he just gets stunned by Puppey. Focus, First Blood. Looking to go to Secret. 1 more arrow to the south. Not enough. He'll still go down. First Blood the way of Secret. The trade onto Big Daddy attempted. They'll get it with a nuke. Yep. 1 for 1 in the end.
Really good block by Big Daddy there, cutting off Sing Sing's path of retreat. And had EGM scouted him out, I don't actually think that would have been a kill because he would have been able to run to the left and fog a little bit earlier. So a bit of a awkward positioning there for both teams.
Yeah, they didn't get a multiple hero Stormbolt. The ice path was pretty late. I mean, and it was just because he was chain stunned, couldn't do anything. But they're now going to settle into the tri lane that we thought they were going to run to begin the game. And Kuroki, concussive shotted, will be slowed down. They even dust for that. That was a very difficult go from Tinker.
Yeah, maybe a Sen were wrapping around, but he was not in position to do so.
This leaves Big Daddy alone on the bottom.
Smoke from Puppey and S4 with a haste rune on Death Prophet. They want to get aggressive.
Doesn't have his level 6. The 3 points of Crypt Swarm. Still, Ice Path was just used. This is as good a time as any if you want to jump in. And they'll be revealed. EGM and Bulba getting eyes. They stun EGM, but not before he War Cries. He's fairly quick on the retreat. S4 reluctant to engage. It's Puppey who's in trouble. Ice Path will clip him. 1 more auto attack. They get the kill, and they all get out safely. And that's with the rotation. As Quakefa now hits level 6.5.
The crowd does not like Tinker. Jeez. And yeah, they just kind of walked into those heroes and Secret.
Uh-oh. Oh, S4's... If there's a haste rune now, he's just dead. Oh,
last rune was haste rune.
Oh, okay. Yeah, you're right.
He's all right.
Still gets the bounty rune, and Quakefa now up to 1,100 gold. Blink Tiger should be pretty quick for him this game. He's even on the Death Prophet's farm.
And the big winner out of this musical lanes from Secret is Pycat. Pycat just left alone on the bottom lane. We saw how much he struggled once those supports rotated on him, but their eyes are focused on Sing Sing, trying to kill this relatively weak Jakiro, but he's not an easy target. He has 10 armor right now, 800 HP.
10 armor? That's just ridiculous.
Well, Smoke in mid, EGM and Bulba eyeing the easy-to-kill Death Prophet. No haste rune in her inventory anymore.
How easy is she to kill? Big Daddy's on the prowl towards that middle lane. Quakefa's duel. They spot out this rune bottom, and they're going to send the Death Prophet to grab it. Instead, EGM and Bulba make their way towards Simba, but he's already got his Ravage. And he's actually close enough that if they go in on mid, the Tidehunter might be able to turn it there instead.
Uh-oh, Big Daddy.
They're walking up the hill, though. This is the worst possible time for Big Daddy to walk up that ramp. Silence, focus, it's dual damage. Going the way of Quakefa, 1 more auto attack. Maybe not. The duel wears off. The turn from Fly again. His undefeated Tidehunter makes it a 3-for-1, and they deny the dual damage. I believe they did. Yeah, no dual damage.
He was like walking mid as Earthshaker was walking up that hill, and I don't know if they like sensed that coming or what, but it was really unfortunate for Tinker that her smoke didn't reveal earlier. If they were just a little bit further to the north, they would have known that someone was in the forest, but big plays by Fly.
It almost looked like they were like going to scout out this camp, but they didn't end up, because they have to know the Tidehunter's off the map. He's either farming Ancients or he's in the jungle.
Yeah, they probably thought he was stacking Ancients, though. It's unusual for him to take a camp that early, and normally they'd be leaving that for someone like Clinks.
Well, that's costly on multiple levels. The first duel lost. He didn't actually lose during the duel, so he doesn't... I don't think he did anyway. Did they get bonus damage?
No.
No, they didn't. Still, obviously a big win for Secret.
Yeah, and that really helps Earthshaker with his levels. He died in that brief skirmish on the top lane, and he's level 5 right now. And on the flip side, we have Skywrath struggling to get that Mystic Flare.
Well, Bulba was very slow to get his level 6 last game. I think it was like 11, 12 minutes as well. EGM also level 3. And normally, although Bulba's a bit slow on his level progression, EGM makes up for that on the heroes like Wisp, for example. But he's not really doing it this game.
I wonder what build Kira is going to go with this game. He has a Soul Ring, and it's not completely redundant with the Orchid, but it's not completely necessary to get a Soul Ring if you are going for Orchid, and there's not really that many great Orchid targets, especially considering you can purge it off with Legion Commander.
Quickfoot will heal himself. He took a lot of damage from S4. I think if he has the level 4 Crypt Swarm, he could get that kill, but he was a bit short. As Kuro will make his rotation mid lane, they do get eyes on Koikfa, and they look to backstab the Legion Commander. At the same time, Bulba's in the neighborhood. Koikfa fairly tanky. He does have a heal ready. Concussive shot coming in. Fissure just a bit short. Koikfa now can turn. He might even be able to duel this one. Is he going to risk it? He's so low, but he might have been able to finish Koikfa, or Kuroki rather. Pycat wound up getting the kill. Nothing Secret can do to save him. That Fissure just slightly out of range. And now they Warcry and they look for more. They're bringing in the whole gang. Nice defensive Fissure, but it doesn't fully zone out Pycat, who chases that lumbering beast down to the river. There's a high ground Ravage in 11. Stun onto Pycat. Doesn't finish him off. He's still alive for the time being. Another Crypt Swarm does to finish the job. And that free farming Razor bottom lane, who is up to 57 CS, gives away a very big kill there. And
another nice play by Tide. He anchor smashed from the high ground to get the extra little bit of damage on him. Man.
The rumblings were that Fly was the weak link on Secret, but hey, if that's your weak link, then you have a damn strong team.
They've been stacking everywhere, too. Try Ancient stack up for Fly. Not really sure he's been doing it for them, but Secret playing very efficiently in this early game.
And he's got Ravaging on Ben. He's also got a Blink Dagger more or less completed if he wants to build it. He may be their mech builder this game, though, so I wonder which way he'll go. But either way.
Blink is way better in this scenario, especially considering how the game has progressed for Team Tinker. They don't really have that high mobility, especially on Sven. They'll only have a Blink Dagger on the Legion Commander. No Yules yet for Jakiro. I think it'll be really important to protect the Death Prophet and the Clinks with that.
Tinker rotating bottom, EGM and Sing Sing together. They finally get their Blink on the Legion. I say finally because had he won that duel, it could have been like an 8-9 minute Blink. But at the same time, the Tidehunter has his. Very tough for Tinker to go in for these duels. Do they have Mystic Flare yet? No level 6 on Bulba. You know, you look at Tinker when they've run this Legion, and it's been every game where they get a fast level 6 on him, and then also often on the Sky, and they just get easy duel damage, but there's been no easy duel damage this game. That Snowball just has not begun to budge down the ramp.
Well, Earthshaker has just been in the right place at the right time.
And the Tidehunter.
And Tide, yeah, both of them just playing very well, making sure that Death Prophet is not the fruit of the sacrifice.
Pycat is still pressing forward.
No, Blink Dagger coming in soon with a Ravage. Pycat isolated from his team.
The Fissure blocks out Pycat a bit. Puppy looking for a stun. They didn't want to Ravage just him. But he will end up barely surviving. While Bulba lurks top lane, Kuroki, he's got 4 heroes creating space for him bottom, and he will happily siege this tower out top. He has used the Death Pack, so he's fairly tanky as well. Can take quite a bit of punishment. Now they go in bottom lane. There's a Gush to start, a Fissure to follow. They Ravage. It barely connects on the Jakiro, just at the very, very edge of that one. He did drop his Oni Macro Pyre, and Pycat charged the other way, but he just gets shredded by the Ghost. Look at that physical damage output. Way too much for S4. And now they leap in again. Another Gush, the chase onto Bulba. The Ghost still going strong for plenty of time. A second hero falling. Sing Sing may well be next. S4 just skates right by the ice path. Courier just taunting Sing Sing, and he's trapped, picked off as well. And they're winning these fights without their Clinks. Kuroki's just off farming mid.
Does Pycat know how much damage those Ghosts do? He ran right by her as soon as she casted the ult to try and go for an Earthshaker kill of all heroes. And I mean, when your safe lane farmers just die twice in very quick succession, that laning phase just gone to waste for him.
While that was happening, Kuroki also took the top tower. I don't think it was denied. Didn't actually get to check, but it doesn't say anymore. And then he went back to mid to farm. So again, he was not involved in that fight. Now up to 1,800 gold. Last time he went Clinks, he did go for the Orchid. We have not seen him go Midas at all in the hero, and at this point, doubt it's going to happen. In this situation, Eternal Envy sometimes goes for a Blink Dagger. These are really the only 2 players I can think of that play the Clinks. Curious to see what the choice is this game.
I mean, Orchid is very nice sustain, though. You never really have to go home to heal with that.
Jumping in mid, duels at the ready, but the Fissure from No Tail was waiting again. That's a 2-hero Stormbolt, though. EGM. Great opening, and they know Ravage is down. They could chase for more. Puppy, oh, that's a That's a Yule Scepter dodge, I suppose. And now they'll still catch him out and pick him off. Not the best coordination there from the Jakiro and Skyrath Mage, yet nonetheless, it's a kill.
And how unusual is it to see Koikfa with absolutely 0 dual damage 3 minutes into the game? He has been involved in 5 kills, and Team Tinker striking with that timing window with no Ravage up yet on Tidehunter.
Uh-oh. Hopefully we didn't break anything. Well, for the meantime, the treads are now complete, and on the Legion Commander, it'll be a Gloves of Haste follow-up to this. Generally, we've seen the Maelstrom build. I suppose there's always some potential for an armlet if you just want that armor and to tank up. But either way, Koikfa will begin farming a stack of his own. They do have to choose their spots carefully, though, Ben. Like, if Ravage is up there, that fight goes completely the other direction. And the Death Prophet never had a chance to really use Exorcism, was on cooldown anyway. Probably would have been chain stun even if she had it.
They need BKB's ASAP on Razor and Legion Commander just so the Ravage doesn't devastate them.
It's big smoke from Secret. A deep dive. They drop wards. They ping out towards where Koikfa stands, but not going in just yet. They're hoping someone will walk up this ramp. In the meantime, he's happily farming. He just got like 800 gold off of the stack. Not off of the stack entirely, but off of the stack and just the recent farm. And now up to another 1,000. If he wants Maelstrom, he's not too far off of it. Boba grouping up with EGM towards the middle lane, but they are poised to pounce. Simba in the tree line. The pings come out immediately from the Radiant.
Yeah, they know.
The S4 is just being so aggressive right now. There's no way he's alone.
Great game sense by Team Tinker. Koikfa also skirting to the left instead of just running straight up to the tower. Just very nice awareness from him. And looks like Sing Sing may get a free tower on bottom. Yule's complete. Actually, he used it last fight.
Oh, now he gets fissured. They can't really get in range in time to follow this up, though. So if he just TPs out, he'll be fine. Well, he might just try to walk back.
Or EGM might be a target in mid. Looks like Secret trying to decide where they want to go. Or just steal all of Tinker's farm in the jungle. But at the same time, Tinker's taking over the opponent's jungle, so no big loss there.
I like these aggressive wards from Secret, though. It gives them a lot of comfort when they want to go for these jumps. And speaking of jumps, Kuro's looking for one mid lane on DGM. He does have a blink. Just harassment. He tries to... That was an instant TP from Sing Sing. He saw that clicks going on his Sven and immediate reaction.
Who can he really kill, though? He can't kill Sven. Sven just war cries without an Orchid on him. Skyrath probably is his ideal target, especially with only 2 armor on him. But everyone else is just not really scared of Clinks at all. So Kuro can farm the opponent's jungle, but it's not really going to stymie TTs.
Puppy does walk right through mid. He's about to jump on in fact, walks through the macro pyre. Oh, I'm not afraid. This Ogre is very confident, perhaps too confident, as he gets stunned. And then double chop. Yep, there's your kill for the creep wave. They'll bring in the reinforcements. S4, no Yule Scepter yet. He's just going to try and run EGM down. Ice Path was used to zone the path of retreat as he TPs out. Can he get out in time? They're not going to Ravage just for that. Meanwhile, in the jungle, though, there was a winner as the Razor managed to kill off the Earthshaker, so they get the dual damage, and they also TP out successfully.
At this point, I think they just have to blow Ravages. They've missed, I think, 3 kills due to no Ravages. 1 on the blocked Razor on bottom, 1 right there on Sven, and 1 on the Razor that just TP'd out. Sometimes you just have to use it for solo kills like that. They haven't been able to use it for like a good 4 minutes, but at the same time, if he does use it, Tinker will just maybe play aggressively on a T2, go for Roshan or something like that. So, I don't know. Fly's in a tough spot.
You mentioned that Koikfa hasn't really been getting dual damage. He wins his first duel there. It's still very slow compared to what Tinker's been able to achieve earlier in the tournament.
Roshan's getting
mowed
down.
He's farming really well. He's got a Maelstrom complete. I think he took down a tower earlier, and he's actually the most farmed here in the game, as Secret will take a Roche. Tinker are just not remotely in position to contest this. They have 1 Observer Ward down near the pit, but they'll let it go. S4 will claim it. Still doesn't have a big item yet. Is there a Yule Scepter on the way? Yep, it's coming out now, along with a 4-staff for Fly, who is very farmed on that Tidehunter. But Tinker are doing a good job of if they give up something like a Roche, they take a trade. They lose a fight against Ravage, then they go smoke and try to win one.
I think both the teams are very good about doing that, taking advantage of like 30-second windows where big ultimates are on cooldown. In this game, Ravage and Exorcism in particular, and just getting something out of trades.
Yeah, that type of trade-off only works if you're, like you said, 30-second windows, immediate rotations. Any longer and it's just too late.
So gold lead just about 1,000 in favor of Secret. I mean, that's very, very close to even. And I don't know, Kiro, I don't foresee him having huge impact on this Clinks. Actually, he does have 3,400 gold sitting.
What is he going to go for? It seems like he's just deliberating what the right item is. If he wanted Orchid, he'd have 2 Oblivion staffs now, and hey, they offer a lot on their own. He's pretty good for Mono Regen if he wants to skip it. Occasionally we see the straight, used to be the straight Daedalus. I guess there's an option to go for like a Desolator now that it's not an orb effect.
Yeah, but
or a unique attack modifier.
Everyone really has like a lot of armor. If he goes for a Daedalus, he still can't really man up versus any of the heroes.
Other options, I mean, I guess there's always an outlier like a Hex, but let's see, he's just bought something, I think. It's a Crystallis, so he is going Daedalus, or at least it could be a value Crystallis into something else.
Yeah, he does need damage of some form. I'm just not really sure what the ideal form of it is, now that Searing Arrows is not an orb.
They are clustering towards mid lane, perhaps looking for a jump on Puppey. But even if they get this Ogre kill, they're giving up a lot for it, as their bottom tower is under heavy siege. S4 and Croaky laying into the tier 2 of Tinker bottom lane. And it will end up dropping. Dire get the last hit. Not incredibly ideal, but still that push keeps on coming. They are going to force TPs back. Secret with an Aegis.
But at the same time, they're pushing S4. They saw Puppey in mid. He threw an Ignite out, and he was certainly envisioned of the tower. And even with the Aegis, that is not a fight to be had.
Razor gets an Ags, Pycat stays close, and overall it's a very even game. A 2,000 gold lead for Secret, but that is with the Roshan and with an even tower trade. I think they also got 1 extra tower deny. There was 1 tower denied bottom earlier. So they might have a bit of a gold lead from that. It's close, Ben. Very close. Just like game 1, actually.
Yeah, Tinker still had to be scared without BKBs. Razor going for the Scepter before BKB, just like last game. Legion Commander opting for a little bit of damage in the Maelstrom.
They have to be afraid of Big Daddy. He's about to get his blink. And after the way he played this tournament previously on the Earthshaker, that is fearsome stuff.
Indeed, indeed. I don't really know who their target is going to be. I think it's just going to be BKB Warcry, try and kill Death Prophet, and ignore the Clink since they have a lot of physical mitigation. Surprisingly, no mech on either of these teams. I mean, prior patch, it was just a given that you would always have a mech carrier in. I don't think we've seen one in either of these games.
Yeah, with the mana cost increase, I guess some heroes it becomes less viable. We've seen people squeeze it in on Razor still, though. I mean, it taxes his mana pool a little bit, but...
Easy tread toggle.
Yeah, tread toggle. He's got drums, and you can get that point booster at some point as well after the mech if you need it.
Oh.
And even a hero like Jakiro could go for it, but Sing Sing went Yules, and then the interesting choice here, Ben, is that he went back into a Blink Dagger. That's not a particularly common choice. Stun on S4 from the high ground, but he's got Aegis. If they went on that, that would have probably been a disaster. Secret were right behind EGM mid.
They think they're smoked right next to the Observer Ward, and they are smoked, but just on the other side of the tower.
Either way, this is like the dead zone. Like if you walk up into this area. They have good deep push, though. That's one thing that this Jakiro pick gave them. Still, this does not stop the Exorcism. It only clears the wave. Catapult will go down. And S4 is a bit low. Remember, if he respawns, if that Aegis pops, he will not have a second life. So perhaps that's even worth jumping him anyway. He won't offer that much.
They don't have BKBs, though. They'll get demolished by Ravage if they commit to a kill on S4, and then just immediately cleaned it after by Kiro and Earthshaker. So it's just not a good time for them to venture deep into that part of the woods.
They want to. They really want to. The Ghost will return. They didn't actually even take a tower with that. It's a 3-hero fissure from Big Daddy. Well, hitting 2, I think, and pushing the other one back a bit. And Tinker now will Warcry and head out. They're getting aggressive. They didn't lose their tier 2. That's not too bad. And they know Exorcism down, and now they go into Big Daddy's Earthshaker mid. He got caught by the Blink Yule Scepter. That long-range initiation from Sing Sing paying off here. It's a pick, and, well, the Aegis is going to be reclaimed right about now, so Secret won't have it any longer.
I think it's a smart choice by both teams to play the way they did. Secret, they didn't have their Aegis up, and Death Prophet still pretty vulnerable with 1,200 HP at that point. And I think the big difference is Sven is just much
bottom
tankier.
lane.
Oh,
Puppey gets hit by the overwhelming odds. That's a lot of bonus attack speed for Koikfa. And with the Maelstrom, he finds an easy kill. Duel number 2 for him. Slow but steady.
Slow but steady indeed.
Will he win the race?
They don't really want to go on Sven, though. Sven has 1,300 HP. He has a lot of strength with Strength Treads, Ogre Club, and Magic Wand. And on top of that, he can pop Warcry. They can't really burst him unless they commit like really big cooldowns like Ravage and Echo Slam, which you don't really want to do. So Tinker's kind of able to force Sven up into the fights, which puts Secret in a really dangerous position. Like, do they really want the Sven up there, who is support, has this heavy AoE stun, and has even decent right-click damage, as opposed to Secret? They can't really have anyone out in front, maybe Tidehunter, but even he can just die to a duel. Cracking Shell doesn't really help with that.
And this is, at this point, they are trying to transition that Sven at least into like a solid tank, if not an actual DPS hero, as he doesn't have to buy wards at all anymore. It's Bulba who buys the sentries, who buys the dust. He will be very poor, but he could still bring a lot to the table with the nukes. And so far, Bulba has done a good job of basically being that 6th position support,
And
which he was crying about a lot. He was commiserating
it's
earlier.
important.
But like EGM needs that, right? That's how EGM works as a support.
Yeah.
He's not really a support. I don't buy wards, he says.
I think Vlad's would have been pretty good for them too, but BKB even better, so he can just go on an Earthshaker, be immune to Ravage for that duration.
Tinker will potentially have to make a choice here. Secret are grouping up towards top. They've got the Daedalus complete on Kuroki. For now, a slight lead in terms of net worth.
Well, they don't have Aegis anymore on S4, so that makes things a lot easier for them. Death Prophet probably going for a BKB as well. I mean, they have a lot of physical damage too, so I'm not sure if that's the best choice for him, but it still does help versus, let's say, Jakiro Initiation and Skywrath Burst, so it does have its uses.
Well, next Roshan respawn could be in as little as, I think that's like 40 seconds, could be up to nearly 4 minutes. Kuroki gets aggressive here. They've got a Sentry Ward right nearby. Quickfist got eyes on him. They even pin him out. They're going to go in with a duel. This would be a big pick. Kuroki, he fell prey to this in our tournament. You remember his clicks? He died like 3 times in a row after getting I mean, he was farther ahead in that game than this one. But he gets picked off solo. And
that was a nice play by Quickfoot.
Yeah.
He just pretended like nothing happened. A lot of players will panic and immediately run out, but Secret giving him a big kill there. Yeah, I'm not really sure what Klinks gets. Like, he can get Daedalus, but he's still going to die because he doesn't have any defensive items. He could get BKB, but then he's not going to do any damage, and he'll still probably die to, let's say, like Razor and Legion.
Solution, get 3 items.
Well, I mean, he could have gone Midas and farmed, like, let's say, Scotty and Daedalus or something like that. Scotty, Daedalus, BKB, and just play completely farm-oriented, which is not a terrible idea.
That is a Veil for Sing Sing now. So they have a lot of physical damage from the Legion starting to stack up. Sitting at plus 90 and plus 42 from duels. And the Razor, of course, with the Ags, hits quite hard. And now they add a lot of magic damage, so it's tough. Like, you get the BKB, it's not an obvious solution. And you can still be brought down even through that. Yet at the same time, if you don't, you're very vulnerable to all the magic damage.
Yeah,
it's a nice spread from Tinker.
And Secret actually doesn't have any damage mitigation. No BK.
You mentioned
one
no
BKB,
mech.
no mech, no pipe, which would really help with Klinks and Death Prophet survival. On the side of TT, even just Warcry is huge. 16. That's probably better. 16 armor is probably better than a mech in terms of how much damage it reduces from the opposing team.
To me, this Jakiro pick, it's like a Venomancer.
From the left side?
Yeah, they're going for the backstab. And that you might just need a pipe to counter the hero by itself.
Oh, they
Tinker just narrowly dodging this one. They're even heading into the tree line to the north. Secret were not actually spotted, I don't think.
What in the world is going on up here?
What a dodge. And Roche will respawn in 1 minute. That's crucial. Maybe if Secret wins that fight, finds those pickoffs, they can take a tower or even back off for a Roshan. But they just barely managed to escape. And they'll even get eyes on Puppy now. They may go in for this duel at the same time that Simba arrives. No. Right as he lumbers through, Tinker
it's time to get
back off. They see the Tide there and the Klinks, and they got to know more inbounds.
Klinks is actually wrapping around from behind, perhaps going for a kill on EGM, but I don't think either of those heroes are kills.
He's taking the long journey around. Kuro is just, he went for this Blink Daedalus. It's such a good Assassin's build in general, but against this Tinker lineup, I think you make a good point that it's only Skywrath that he can kill, and Boba, he's just not gotten caught this game. 3, 3, and 7. Considering what he's up against, that's very impressive.
And now he doesn't have Death Pact anymore, so what is he going to do?
Do you think Tinker can get away with a gem now?
I think so, yeah. probably on Quakefa. They really. Oh, Quakefa.
Quakefa gets dunked in the river. He's got a BKB, but it's going to be too late even if he pops it. And he will just heal himself, wisely reserving that.
What a stun by Big Daddy, too. Catching the Sven so that he couldn't stun the Earthshaker to prevent that chain stun into a BKB. Excellent play by them. And that was without the death pact on Gleeks. I didn't think they had the damage.
Daedalus is a nice option, or a nice tool in your arsenal when you lack that death pact. Do Secret manage to push in? It's a fortunate time for a kill because it's a fairly quick Roche respawn. At least 1.5
Hero
to 2
gets
minutes.
dusted.
And they go in on the Cliques, but the Yule Scepter was there from Sing Sing. Mystic Flare to follow this up. Simba blinks into the Ice Path, then they silence him. What a play from Bulba. Can they finish up Kuro during this time? He's still alive for now. They will bring him down, but they've already lost 2, make it 3. That's without the Clinks, that's without an Exorcism. That Secret still managed to find that superior trade.
And without the Ravage. Well,
that was so good by Bulba, and it doesn't matter.
Well, it was also bad by Tinker. They they overlapped the Yules in a Stormbolt.
And now they find a 4th. Pycat the Ravage finally thrown out by Simba. Finds that easy kill. Buyback from your Jakiro. And now they want to re-engage, but they're fighting into Exorcism. Simba trapped by the Veil. Massive nuke damage. Not quite sufficient to secure any follow-up kills, though. Finally, the Tidehunter will go down. S4 charging forward with the Fissure. Laid into Quakefa. Will manage to kill him off. Has a buyback if need be. In fact, almost everyone does. Again, the Yule Scepters used by S4 outplaying EGM in this fight. Will bring him down and retreat out. Man, that was the calm before the storm, but the storm was mostly a Secret favored one.
And Razor, again, why does he go for his axe before BKB? I think BKB is imperative in these fights. He's constantly
That's
gets
a dieback
like
on Sing Sing. Oh no. Runs in, one more auto attack. He's finished off. Bulba maybe gets the trade here on Big Daddy. Blink Dagger in 3, can't use it. Will end up dropping as Quakefa also goes in. Could look for a dual return, but he had to buy back for this.
He's going to get Yules immediately if he does.
He better get this kill. He gets stunned to start. Puppey has backup here, as you mentioned. S4 can Yules, and he'll do it now. There's no concussive shot. It now cools down. I think he's even out of range for that. That Bloodlust move speed. This lumbering beast is now a very speedy demon.
Secret's coordination is just way better than Tinker's at this point. The Fissures from Earthshaker constantly saving their heroes and also coordinating their damage to actually just kill Tinker before they can react with like an Ice Path or a Stormbolt to cover their important heroes. And yeah, they have a BKB on Quakefa, but he still can't really go in to begin with either.
Well, he also hasn't been able to get it off at a great time either.
Yeah, I mean, that's just due to their fantastic play.
Yeah.
With an instant Blink Echo into like a Tidehunter or Ravage if they need to, and just putting them in a very difficult position too with the Yules. You don't really always want to immediately BKB out of the Yules.
Secret have now taken a slight lead and massively extended it over a window of, I think that's like 5 minutes, maybe even 3 to 4, up to a 10,000 gold lead. This game was dead even up until then. And we keep on coming back to how Secret don't always have the strongest laning stage, but they just seem to find a way in the mid and late game. Have not won this one by any means, and Tinker do go quite late in their own right. But Secret just, they've been delivering when it counts. So you got to favor them here.
I have to say that Razor's just not Pycat's hero. They first banned out the Slark. I forget what other hero they banned out. First, they actually banned out Viper and Slark. And Pycat forced to maybe go into the Razor every game, but his Axe performance was way more impressive.
He just loves to get aggressive.
I mean, Razor's usually pretty good at that, but yeah. Secret's also decent about drafting around it, too.
And against this Secret draft, like, he doesn't have a BKB, so how aggressive? I mean, he actually just completed it, but has not had it up until now.
I think part of it has to do with his decision to go for Scepter before BKB in both of these games.
Maybe it's a whack-a-mole play from Quakefa, just slowly inching forward, and Big Daddy could get dueled. Oh, so frustrating for Quakefa. It was like 3 seconds on the Blink Dagger cooldown. Well, S4 also on a bit of a hunt. Tinker are just starting to take that old advice from HY and hide in the trees. Didn't work out too well in the end for that alt squad, but I don't know what other choice they have right now. Until they complete this EGM BKB, and even once they do, physical damage is outstanding on Secret. And if they get the first Ravage or Fissure into Ravage before the BKBs are popped, you are not getting them off. Bulba in danger of getting caught. Now he's in the tree line, and Kuroki pounces on him with 3 searing arrows. Finishes him off. Courier might have been spotted here. It's kind of Miana recipe. Does it keep on going straight top? I think he's got Hyperstone Gold. EGM will TP out in the nick of time. S4 was just an inch off on his Yule Scepter. Can they push in on this? They still have the Aegis on Kuro. How long does he have it for? 1, 2, 3 minutes to go nearly. And plenty of time if they want to try and break the base. And only one tier 2 to the top lane, so could be a time for them to try and force it. The refresher's up. The items are piling in. In fact, Kuroki nearly has his next item. And I wonder if he just buys it now. He's probably not afraid of dying.
Sing. Nope. He's all good.
Fine.
He was within like 1.5 seconds of dying. And now Clinks with his BKB and Aegis.
They want to take a big fight.
Yeah, at the same time, they have BKB on Razor, though, and I think that Pycat hasn't had an impact in the last couple of fights, but that doesn't mean he can't in the upcoming ones.
It's just all about timing here. Who's going to be quicker on the draw? We saw Secret struggled in one of the earlier matches when Fly blinked into Ravage, and the enemy team was just too quick on the BKBs. That could happen this time, or it can go the other way. It just comes down to reactions.
Well, they also have Echo on Big Daddy, so if he blinks in and they BKB, they can always just back off, sacrifice Big Daddy, and then go in for another big volley.
They do have some redundancy there. That's true.
Yeah, and the instant stun on Shaker is slightly better than the Tidehunter with the slight travel time.
He's about to Death Pact to creep. He'll have this one for quite a long time, 35 seconds. That may be the window to push through mid and look for your first lane of racks. It seems they decided this is the time, and it's the place. They look for a 2-0 victory here against Tinker. A win now secures third place at least for Secret, if not more. Tinker are looking for the trade. They've already used their Aghanim Scepter ultimate on the Razor, so they've almost got to either bring him back this second or just go for a bit of a trade. And still Pycat is pushing Koikfa, giving himself that press the attack speed. But they don't go in with it. Still Exorcism held in reserve. They're trying to wait for the right opening. S4 will BKB now. He's got Exorcism immediately after this. Needs to just start chewing this tower down. He'll go to work with even the Bloodlust auto attacks coming fast and furious. And now the Echo Slam. It's Big Daddy in through the front door. Kicks it down. Ravage 1 was good. Ravage 2, a nice follow-up. Koikfa will end up dropping very low, not finished off. But the key thing is they've zoned them off of the Rex. They'll take the melee now. Kuro, eyes on objectives, will take a full lane, and Secret now retreat. Force Staff keeping Simba alive just for a little bit longer. They'll continue to retreat out. Big Daddy up to the north, goes for the fissure. He got caught by the Ice Path. Sing was quicker on the draw that time. But it's a buyback on the Scarth Mage, a death on the Sven, and most importantly, a lane of Rex going down. So they get the Clinks, though. Doesn't have a BKB anymore. If he dies once here, maybe they can kill him twice. They have a duel. They are going to use it now.
He's dead again.
They can kill him twice, but do they take an objective off of this? Ice Path is waiting for Kuroki, and he just gets shredded by that magic damage. Not a terrible hold for Tinker, considering that they lost their axe.
They're doing a good job of controlling Fly, though, so that he doesn't actually get an ideal two-man or double Ravage. Koikfa was able to BKB out of the second one, and that completely turned the fight for Team Tinker. And when he tried to go in again, just like constant Yules, silences from Skywrath Mage like we saw before, and they're going to progress in a high ground.
And they know there's no Ravages. Maybe they can actually force
no
this.
Exorcism too, no Aegis on Kuro.
Was it a blessing in disguise to let Secret take that lane of Rax? Tinker trying to prove it, take advantage of the Razor, very low cooldown ultimate. It's less than half of that of the Death Prophet, and Big Daddy will leap in. Yule Scepter used by Sing Sing to try and disengage. He does get ding-dinged, and down will go to the multicast, and that ends the push. Well, maybe they can't go high ground.
Yeah, no Force Staff on any of their teammates. Kind of need that to help them out there. EGM does have a BKB of his own sitting at base, and with Kuro up in 9 seconds, I don't really think they can transition into the bottom lane, but they might try and do so. Ravage, 35 seconds, about in sync with Jakiro's revival.
Tinker are in a dangerous position now. If they don't fight soon, and Secret get their double Ravage back, maybe they wait for the next Roshan, which could be, man, it feels like they just finished that last Rosh. Minute and a half, potentially off of it, maybe up to 4 minutes and change. But it's fairly soon. Then they go for a second lane of Rax, and at that point, Tinker are almost a do or die situation where they not only have to win a fight, but then they have to force a base, at least a Rax trade of some kind, if not a base race entirely.
They haven't been able to ever get a clean go on Death Prophet. If Koikfa can press attack, BKB, and then blink duel on Death Prophet, and then everyone else can follow up with BKBs, that's their ideal teamfight situation, but just not able to execute.
S4 is just so quick on his Yule Scepters. He's dodged like 2 or 3 very close range Stormhammers from EGM. Granted, one of the easier spells in the game to Yule's dodge. Still, he's been very consistent about it. And there's always the Fissure to disengage. Like, they have to get off these BKBs, which have not always been used to the greatest success. It's still an 8-second BKB on Koikfa. They just got the one on EGM. It's been, like you said, just very difficult to lock S4 down. I think Secret are just playing it well to prevent that.
Yeah, I mean, you'll see a lot of Death Prophets. I mean, just even IAPs versus Secrets yesterday, Death Prophet just dies from 100 to 0 without popping any cooldowns. And S4, he almost always gets his Ghost off. And yeah, his team is decent about protecting him, but they have no mech, no pipe, no 4-steps even. Actually, just one on Earthshaker, but relying on those blanket ultimates from Secret that actually do not go through BKBs.
The one nice thing Secret also did here is they dropped down some good aggressive wards. The one lane ward earlier, now one in the jungle. I really like this vision they have. Tinker, because they're down a lane of racks and up against the Clinks, constantly are kind of trapped on their side of the map, which means that these wards see a lot of traffic.
They need a gem. I mean, they lose one more fight, they'd probably lose the game anyways.
Yeah, I asked you earlier if they could get one, and you said yeah, and now it feels like it's not enough like, oh, you could, but you need one for the map control. One ward could just win Secret the game. They get a good pick off here, find a hero without buyback, which only 2 of Tinker currently have. That might be it. Not to mention the Clinks. If they get eyes on Tinker from him, that's also trouble. And all they have right now is 2 dust.
So Secret just has full map control right now. Unluckily for them, Roshan is about 2 minutes and 15 seconds after the 8-minute mark. And Koikfa looking for
Well, that's not going to happen. Just tries to run by the creep wave and push out. They do know this Rosh is coming soon. It's close to a max Roshan respawn. I think 30, 40 seconds short.
But they're going in blind.
And they're going in as the wave's still just at the river. So it's going to become obvious very quickly.
So they don't want to really give it up, or else the same thing will happen to their bottom racks. So maybe.
And that's the critical, that's the tipping point. You lose that second lane. Secret, even if they couldn't win a fight for some reason, could always just use the clicks.
Simba in a good position to get a Ravage off.
Pycat's about to walk in him. He will blink out, though. Playing this one safe. He slows down Secret and says, let's bide our time for a better initiation. They didn't have too much vision there, so I think that's a wise choice. You don't really know what you're walking into.
All about those BKB timings. Tinker needs to use more smokes. Actually, I don't know what all the smokes are, but they need a smoke for an engage like this. If they catch wind of Legion Commander, BKB is going to be popped.
Speaking of smokes, S4's on the hunt. It's going to be Bulba. They spot out first and foremost. 3 shots from the Clinks finish him. The Fissure from Big Daddy just
Kiro.
was too late, but they wait for the high ground initiation, going in for the duel, and Kuroki can't get in range. The 4-step, oh no. Now they've got no BKB on Koikfa. He'll have to TP out, and we'll make it. The backline's not sulking. EGM's also going to have to BKB. TP, he didn't BKB. Well, he's dead now. Gets the Stormbolt off on quite a few heroes. That was a 3 or 4 hero Stormbolt. And he is buying time for his team. No TP any longer. Anchor Smash will come through. I guess he was hoping they would Ravage him or something, but they'll just club him instead.
Yeah, his cooldown's not that great anyways. Only 40 seconds, and S4 popped his Ghost, trying to get some more out of this trade.
He thought there was going to be a big fight earlier, but yeah, the Roche only just now respawned.
So they can do Roche without the help of Exorcism. Clinks does more than enough physical damage.
And they have Bloodlust as well. And they go in, they find Pycat with a triple multicast. Puppey gets aggressive. There's your duel. Trying to turn it for Koikfa, but without the BKB. Fissure poses a problem for him. He also didn't use his Mjolnir on himself, and he melts. And they chase forward. Pycat now 30 seconds out on his TP. He's going to basically find a corner to die in here. Yeah, no way he makes it out. Clubbed down again by Big Daddy. The crowd begins to really get behind Secret.
That's the death knell for Tinker. I don't think they can recover from that. And then Aegis, and then just go for a T3 push. D didn't even need to pop the BKB on Death Prophet that whole entire fight. That was without Exorcism, without Ravage, without Echo Slam. I mean, Secret didn't really commit anything to that fight.
They still have double Ravage. And they used Exorcism earlier, but it's not like it did anything. They won the fight, the pickoff without it. And they'll have it again. They'll have a solid 5-minute window with Aegis, Cheese, a lane of Rex down, 3 buybacks to boot, so give them 5 extra lives unless they want to buy more items. That's trouble.
I think everything went wrong for them with that first Ravage from Fly, where they had that 2-man gank in mid, the duel, and then everything just got obliterated with a Ravage.
I'm not sure if Secret maybe had an idea there could be a gank mid, but they didn't have like an actual ward spotting that rotation. So.
And then after that, Big Daddy was just in a very good position to counter any sort of offensive maneuver from Tinker with fissures. And Clinks, although he died, he still managed to keep up massive amounts of farm, but not even as much as S4 with 22,000 net worth. And at this point, he's like the invincible Death Prophet, where you can't really go on her. Damned if you do, damned if you don't. 31, 50 HP with 25 armor.
I want to go back to that gank mid because it's something we've seen a lot of from Secret. They seem to anticipate ganks very well in the laning stage. Big Daddy has been in position time and again on his Earthshaker. We've seen Puppey to a lesser extent supporting that role, and just in general, their entire team seems to have such good map sense, like constantly scanning the minimap. It's easy to lose that discipline after a long day, and they haven't had the longest one, but just sitting around waiting, 8-9 hours to play. They've been here for about that long. Well, you can lose focus just from that.
At the same time, it's a little bit more predictable for Team Tinker just because they get their blinks and then boom, try and get a couple of kills. So the timing's usually around like 8 to 10 minutes, but
that was still, even before it though.
Yeah, it's still very, very impressive. And even in the, oh boy.
Welp. I just caught the corpse hitting the deck. Though Yule's now the Clinks, and he doesn't really care. He's 4-staffed away. Their 4-staff usage just making it easy for Kuroki. He can play that aggressively because he knows his team will bail him out.
Yeah, and on the flip side, we saw Sing Sing just die mid with no 4-staffs to boot.
And with Bloodlust on Kuro, he really can just shred this tower. They have Exorcism. They'll use it now. Glyph was already popped. Look at it melt. Even if they go in now, their Rack's already dead. Like you said, death knell. It seems it's now. Rays are not TPing in. They'll give up a range. They'll give up a melee, and they'll go for the throne. Secret, not even hesitating for a second. Push in for the 2-0 sweep of Tinker. Boba did say that they considered Secret one of the strongest teams of this tournament. Perhaps they were a bit intimidated. And they are in danger now of just flat out losing the game without even fighting. Sing Sing went in for the Yule Scepter initiation. He drops. S4 chasing in. The BKBs were used. The Exorcism ends. Kuroki does get caught out. He gets dueled. Focused. But the Ravage is there. That's Ravage 1. Ravage 2 is going to be a lot worse if he gets it off. Kraken Shell will allow it to proc. Removing that silence and securing it. And now Pycat's forced out. Finished off by the Clinks. They're still fighting without Exorcism, and they're also fighting at the throne, basically. Chasing on S4 with a concussive shot. Probably goes down here. Can they keep him alive? 4-staff, cooling down. Yep, they'll use it now with Puppey. And Kuroki goes back in. Onto your Skyreth Mage. Now focusing Pycat. Steal my damage. I don't care. Up too strong. It might not hit hard, but he hits fast. And that's 4 heroes dead. GG. Secret. Guaranteed top 3 at Starladder. For Puppey and Kuro, I guess this is old hat at this point, but for the Fnatic boys, well, they've had the 1 second place finish, I think, but yet to secure a win here.
Yeah, the 2 ganks that went poorly for the mid, one in this game, the one last game too, with the Batrider Blink Dagger, just shows you that Secret is just 1 step ahead of Tinker at most points in the game, and the last game looked a lot scarier than this one, but well played by Secret, and shows you that they can use a little bit of old, a little bit of new, with like the Sven mid is a bit of new school, Death Prophet and Brewmaster a little bit of old school. They can mix and match, and the drafting seems to be a huge issue versus them.
They really seem to trust each other as well. I mean, yeah, they're experienced players, but they haven't been together all that long. It's what, 3 months? And they, like, Kuroki's aggression, once in a while he's been off on his own and just died. Like the Clinks that game, he just ran in and Viz, they had a sentry, got caught out, couldn't have predicted it, but in general, when he jumps in, it's because he knows that the team is right there behind him.
It's a much different team than day one. I don't know what happened day one.
Compare that to like Na'Vi before they decided to change their roster. Like it got to the point where it seemed like they were completely on different wavelengths. So, Secret looking good. Do you think they can go all the way? I guess the big elephant in the room for them is EG right now.
Yeah, I think if they continue to draft like this, then certainly. I think day one it was a little bit of draft, and they just can't have a super weak laning phase, and I think Fly has just been absolutely delivering on Tidehunter in these recent games.
Yeah,
I think they can do it.
He's been impressive, that's for sure. Guys, that's going to wrap up Secret versus Tinker. We've got one more best of 3 here for you tonight as day number 2 of Starladder Season 10 winds towards a close. That match will be Na'Vi versus EG. EG, they've been waiting all day long for this, and Na'Vi, well, Na'Vi's had to do it the hard way. They had to slog through tie-break matches. They are finally ready. Can they find that next burst of energy? We'll find out after this. Stay tuned.